Hello, and welcome to a conversation with Nia and I, Michelle, to talk about where we have been in the recent past, because it's been an up and down time. We have really seen this breaking apart of an enormous amount of status quo and ways that we have been doing things that we've been tolerating, oppression, for instance, a number of different ways that we've been seeing it in our lives personally and certainly in this country and globally.
Yeah, indeed. And as this breaking apart is happening on this larger scale, knowing where our footing is, where we should be is also changing and creating a sense of discomfort and uncertainty.
Yeah.
But it's a different quality of uncertainty. It's not uncertainty like everything is just awful. It's an uncertainty of I just don't know. And this not knowing is creating a different quality of anxiousness. Rather than like fearfulness, it's like, I just don't know. I'm on edge a little bit.
Mm-hmm. And what we know for sure is the disruption, right? And the deconstruction of what's going on. But we're not sure necessarily what it's emerging into. And the cool thing is that we're part of co-creating what it is we are emerging into, to these new systems. But that discomfort of how we used to know things, how we used to be certain, and things were much more linear. And if I did this, I was pretty sure this was going to happen. And then probably that was going to happen. That is not how it's working anymore. And we're adjusting. We're getting used to it. But the cool thing is that some of the stuff that's coming up for the healing, scarcity and reactivity and feeling like a victim, I mean, those things are up for deconstruction as well. And there's a promise in it, along with the uncertainty.
Yes. I love that. I love that you just said that, Michelle. And, it's funny. We've talked about this how many times. I haven't heard the word promise in this. And I think there is a promise. And it's when we talk about things breaking apart, it's almost like the way I've been talking with people about it is like we've been in our shell for a long time, and now we're getting ready to emerge from the shell, like the chick emerges from the shell, right? And as soon as you start to break it apart, you start to realize how vast the world is that you're stepping out into. And that what you knew to be comfortable, what you knew was normal, what you knew was right, was that shell, was that closeness. And now as you're emerging, there's like this urge to like, can I just pick up those shell pieces and put it back together and stay right here? And you realize you can't, because once this has begun, you can't put it back together the same way. And so the only way through this is truly to move forward and through it. And there is a promise of newness, of a stretching into something more expansive than we've understood up to this point.
Yeah, I really appreciate, Nia, the language you're using around how transformative this is, because the breaking apart like a chick emerging from an egg is so true. I kind of think of it like we as humanity are going through a birthquake.
A birthquake. I like these are good.
And it's like we are being born into a different dimension. It's the caterpillar to the butterfly. It's the birth of a child.
Yeah.
You go from one environment that's normal, right? When you're a baby inside the womb, and you get fed this way, and this is the way it sounds, and this is the way it smells, and then there's this transformative process, this birthquaking, and you come out the other side, and it's new, and we have to relearn at a different level of beingness. So it's messy. I mean, it's not the most comfortable, and it's so exciting. And to your point, Nia, it's happening. We're in the ride. And so how do we make sense of it? How do we lower our resistance and release what we can in the chaos and take the energy of the transformative process and let it transcend us, to this new quantum level that we're emerging into. So
Exactly. And I think the thing that just to hold space for this, because there is kind of this thing that is also coming up with this energy that things are bubbling up that we're pretty darn sure we already let go of. You know, like years ago, relationships, old patterns, things that we were certain, like, why is this coming up again? And I've heard that more and more and more from people, especially in the last year. So 2017 was a year of that, and 2018 as well, of people experiencing this feeling of, I've been here before. Why is this doing this again? And it's the way that it is being described to me, as when I've been channeling, as I've talked with people, is like, when you go and you pull weeds, right? Like dandelions, and dandelions are nutritious, but we're not talking about that anyway. But we think about dandelions as weeds, and the challenge is you can pull out the flower, you can pull out the stem, you can pull out the leaves, but if you don't go down and get the root, it will come back. And this is like the final moment to go in and just take it all up and allow for it to be part of this transformative process, that the person you were when that took root in your life is no longer the person you are becoming. And so we have to go in and pull it up and see it all again, go through the entire thing, not with as much pain or duress, but the willingness to see it through a new lens, to take it up.
yeah, it is exactly a time to heal at the core, to find the knot, at the root. And I really appreciate your word willingness, Nia. I do think that's part of this process, is to be open and surrender into the process and be willing to release that which will not serve us moving forward in our new configuration with as much ease, flow, and grace as possible.
I love that. Thank you.